Last one on that, I'll start with you, Gabriel.
You know, BBI is an animal in itself. But take what my friend has said when it comes to big money in universities. There's something called research money. Man, only that amount can actually go into billions. And you know, hardly are you even asked to explain that money. So when you're seeing such fights within our academic institutions, and you obviously know there's a push and pull somewhere. Like you said, it's all about the money. Follow the money. Having said that, BBI, there are several things. First of all, you know, I'd like to remind Kenyans, and this one I take it from the onset what the president said. The president was so afraid, and actually the way it's playing now, you can see why the president was afraid. He said, kindly don't allow BBI to be taken over by politicians. That's where we are headed. And that's what actually may render it becoming from what the president envisioned it to be to becoming some sort of a political vehicle that will actually undermine his Big Four agenda and satisfy this curiosity of the formations of 2022.
What I'm curious about, having listened to the speeches that were made in Bukhungu, looking at what happened in Mumias and looking at what happened in Kisii, you know, part of the question is, people are asking where were the published copies of the BBI report, and we thought we'd be interrogating the issues in the BBI report.
Not only that. That was the precursor of Bomas. We agreed on certain things. We agreed that this report was good. We are taking it machinally. How do we take it machinally? First of all, is making copies available. And that's why when the team was gazetted, when the committee, the BBI committee was gazetted, my understanding was they would move and burn the entire midnight oil to ensure that Wanjiku has the copies. And not only just the copies, because my aunties and Nani's grandmother, you know, they cannot read English. We must find a way. How will they be able to read? How are we going to interpret that document to them so that they know that which is contained within the BBI and what their rights are? What have they been promised in that BBI? And that we can start having a national conversation. What we have today is what we saw in Kakamega. And let's put it clearly. I do not want my own views. I do not want BBI hijacked by politicians. I do not want where BBI goes, the name that we're talking about, we are actually discussing personalities instead of discussing what is good for Wanjiku. We are losing it. We are losing it. You cannot take a BBI and just talk about you and another individual, or talk about this individual and another one, or that individual. And you start pitting people, personalities, one
against the other.
But we are going to lose it. So BBI has a very good focus. It is ensuring that me and my good friend here, we have a conversation, a national conversation, that will end up in us surmounting Olive of how we want to be governed. What haven't we done right, and how we need to change and do it right and correct. Okay. Failure to that, Olive, I think we're just setting formations of a yes and no. The oranges and bananas. We are back to it.
Charles.
Yes.
You know, do you agree with Gabriel that the BBI has been hijacked by politicians? And is the BBI turning out, as Deputy President William Ruto says, to be a vehicle for Raila Odinga to reinvent himself ahead of the 2022 presidential elections?
I don't think so, and Gabriel should know better. First and foremost, we only gazetted the new team to implement the report, I think 3 days ago. Those are the guys to give us copies. I agree with him, because trust me, if those copies were done by anybody else, today, the politics would be that particular office has spent 3 to 4 billion in copies, and they have stolen everything. It's gone. Everything is gone. Now, number one, this is a public report now. The moment we gave it out at Bomas, it became a public report. It can be discussed in public rallies. It can be discussed in political rallies. It can be discussed in churches, funerals, anywhere, even in social gatherings. We are doing it in pubs. Those guys that frequent pubs. I don't know whether Muduma does. People who go to churches, they are discussing BBI. Trust me, if the BBI report cannot stand the test of politics, then we are talking about a document that's going nowhere. Remember, Kakamega, Wakili Wetangula was not coming. Mudavadi was not coming. Boni Halwale, the bullfighter, never showed up. What happened when the two showed up? They were given a forum. They addressed the same people that they had not even mobilized. They had actually demobilized the rally and told people, don't go. I saw one guy on NTV saying, I did not go because Mudavadi is my leader and he told me he's not going for this thing. I was shocked to see him heading there. So it means people are ready to go to one area. Politics is local. Listen to what BBI has for them as a region and then stand guided. Because even before the copies come, people have a lot of respect for these people that they have elevated as their leaders. So what is the big thing about even Bonnie walking into that meeting, getting the microphone and saying his bit? And I think this is now how BBI wins. In the past, it was about a political rally for this group, a political rally for the other grouping. What would have stopped even William Samoei Ruto attending the Kakamega meeting and actually would have been given the podium to address the people and told the people of Western what it is all about and why he has a concern about ABCD? Because I think, Olive, the moment we start viewing BBI as any other average document, political document, or even the Constitution, remember, all of them were in Bomas, all of them to the man, all of them were in Bomas. So what is different between Kakamega, and is the same follow-up, because even that was a political arrangement, and Bomas? I think we need to slow down in terms of the politics around BBI. We need that guy from Mount Kenya region to look at BBI in terms of the leadership of Mount Kenya region and appreciate, is our concern issues of inclusivity? Is it about the Prime Minister? Or is it delimitation that is due as provided by Article 89 in terms of the constituencies? And we need to call our people and tell them the BBI has proposed we retain the 290 constituencies. We have a concern because we have a lot of people here. Population is very heavy. We need to have a weighted way of allocating resources. And then we need that provided for in the constitution. These are the things we need so that central meeting is going to look slightly different from Kakamega because of if you don't identify the interests of that region, then have everything else ride on that so that Kenyans in that particular region can appreciate what BBI is. You're going to find yourself selling a general document like a political party's manifesto.
All right. Now, we're out of time, but
very quickly. You see, the point that I raised, and I know we'll agree with this, the point that I raised is a concern that the president had. And there's a reason as to why the president had that concern when he said, do not allow this document to be hijacked by politicians. Because the president knew, I mean, he's a politician, par excellence. So he knows the minute politicians will take this document, they will actually make it to serve their interests. And this is what this is where I'll actually disagree with the proponents who are pushing BBI as a conduit for 2022. One thing I'm liking about the president, what he said is this: BBI is not talking about positions. BBI is not talking about what many politicians think or wanted to talk about. It is not saying that huyu atapatiwa kiti gani. No. In fact, it is not talking about 2022. And the president made it very clear. So at any given time, BBI should not be a precursor to that. BBI should be what it was set out to be. We have a problem at hand. We have a rhythm in this country that comes to a standstill after every 5 years. What do we need to doctor? If my interest and that of my region are sorted, I need the youngest and the lowly person within that society to understand what BBI stands for them, and yet the oldest person
that's
in
a political
that
solution.
Okay.
That's